Hello, welcome to today's stream. We were gonna build the Hobby Hyzak today, but instead we are building the Gundam X, just because I've put off watching Gundam X for, at this point I discovered last week, half a year. And so I've just gone through the first half of Gundam X to refresh myself and catch up to where I was. And over the next 2 days, I'm just gonna blaze through the rest of it. But for today, we're just going to talk about the first half of the show because it's a really good show. And this build itself is from... What year are you from? 2010. Oh, but hello, Lan. Hello, Ivan. Happy you guys could make it. Oh, wait a minute. Let me... Okay, sorry about that. Sorry about that, I had desktop audio still on, so that might have made it a little hard to hear me, but hopefully you could hear me, that fact that we're just talking about the first half of the series, and on Wednesday we'll talk about the second half. Probably gonna reiterate some things between those two episodes of building. Let me do one little thing I forgot. Okay. And actually, me making the pinned comment on Twitch is good, because it reminds me that on Twitch, I now have ads. And I'm not saying that as a brag, I'm saying that as just genuine lamentation, because I can't not have ads. And I don't want to have pre-rolls, so now there's, I think, 3 minutes of ads broken up in 1-minute segments throughout every hour of Twitch. I'm sorry for that, but you have to have at least 3 minutes if you don't want to have pre-rolls. So on Twitch, just gonna be straight up with you. I'm not happy about that, but that's just how it is. Ooh. It's actually really annoying. You have to have ads on Twitch at a certain point. Let's actually get into this and do the prep work as we talk about the series itself. There's the panel liner. That is a lot of black. I'm a little curious as to what all this black is going to be going to. I'm going to look at the instructions real quick. And hope that we can prep it with paint instead. But one thing that I find striking about Gundam X is the fact that it's literally called, and I'll show you here, it's even on the high grade box, it is prominent, and that's the fact that it's called After War Gundam X. Is that it is the after war period. Is that where Gundam is often about the war as it's happening, about humanity destroying itself. Gundam X, not the only one, but I think it might be the first one. It's definitely the first AU to my understanding, which is about after the war. I mean, you could say Gundam Wing was about after the war, but there was never really a war to begin with in Gundam Wing. They kind of skipped the 1-year war and went straight to the Grips conflict in Gundam Wing. Hello, Oi. Gundam X is, must be 18 plus to build. And if it's double X. Ooh. I do have the double X. I was debating which one we'd build, and I decided the X, because I just like the asymmetry when it's guns away. Right now I'm just double checking the instructions to see where the stickers go so we can prime those places instead. And I'm just not seeing it. So I guess we'll just kind of freehand it. Ooh. Oh, welcome. But that's one thing that I kind of like immediately about Gundam X, is just it has a very unique setting in that regard. Well, I guess G-Fighter was kind of after the wars as well. But G-Fighters was more an alternative to the wars, and it still resulted in destruction. Ooh. Gundam X is very much focused conceptually on trauma of both, you know, the environment and the people in the world, like of the world itself and the people. Every character has some kind of baggage, some kind of trauma they're dealing with in this world, because everything in this world is broken. I'm almost surprised there isn't a Gundam Triple X. If the show didn't have to wrap up early, I'm sure there would have been a Gundam Triple X. The Japanese, they don't know, man. There's a Triple X movie, and that was supposed to be like Triple Extreme. That was weird. I don't know how that got through marketing. Okay, let's... What? Oh. Just looking at what we have to panel line. Okay. Jesus Christ, that's loud. Okay. Ooh. Have I seen the stuff Ray pulls off? Ooh. I mean, Amuro pulls off insane stuff, but... I'm thinking more of Gundam X for today. And I have to turn back on the notes. But how it kind of communicates to the fact that, like, its world itself is, you know... I mean, the world itself is literally covered in craters. It's not hard to see how the world is messed up after the war. But the people... It's just kind of like a natural state of life where when in the first episode, a mobile suit like bandit arrives to kind of just, you know, extort the village just immediately is just like, okay, well, who has our anti-armor who has our anti-tank rifles? And it's just like, and like an adult goes like, you stupid kid, I need the armor-piercing rounds. And it's just so casual to the whole state of the world, like, how it's just left in shambles, and you just really get that feeling from the very first episode. Oh god, the custom... Okay, I do know about the custom GM sniper and how... There was... I mean, in general, the aces on that were insane, but I think actually... Wasn't it actually a custom GM sniper who had, like, the most kills in the war or something? I think of possibly any ace pilot, which kind of sounds really impressive considering the Federation didn't get mobile suits until, like, 9 months into the conflict. But there's at least, like either the highest or second highest, like, just ace in Gundam is, like, a Fetty, which is insane considering that. You have Xeon pilots who've just been in the war the whole time, and they just can't compete with just some dude who's just like, okay, I just got this suit, I'm just gonna destroy 100 enemy mobile suits in the course of 3 months. How you do that? I feel like Gundam X mass production type is the drones. Actually, the drones I really like. The idea of the drones is actually surprisingly unique in the fact that... Let me get out these brushes so I don't... Okay. And the fact that it's just like, why don't, like, new types just control full-on separate mechs? I guess it's just not cost-effective in, like, how the Universal Century runs things, but if you just have, like, one dude who can just, like, control funnels already, why not just have him control, like, entire other mechs to a certain point? It really does crank up, like, the new type shenanigans in that regard. But they are pretty good. They are a good mass production version, the drones. Yeah, it's something about them just having like a glass face, like not a visor like a Jim, but just a full-on like glass panel over their entire head. Does make them just like look that little bit cheaper. They just have that little bit less detail. They're less ornate. They're like the Jim in that they're more simplified. Ooh. Though the Jim-like of Gundam X is actually really good in and of itself, that tri-eyed mech. Really all the mech design of Gundam X is absolutely amazing. It is probably my favorite AU designs. Okay, got that brush. I don't know if there's a design I've seen in Gundam X where I haven't just gone, that's peak. Is this visible? Okay. I am going to... I might have to increase the lighting a little. But visually, I absolutely love the mech design of Gundam X. I honestly can't think of another universe where I am so in love with all of the designs. From Karis's kind of like... I don't even know what to compare Karis's to, but it's kind of like a Quebly crossed with something else. It's like a Quebly if a Quebly had like a mobile armor mode for when it deployed its funnels. It's a very unique design. But it's just these very beautiful designs. Like you have just the two mobile armors that turn into jets. You have like a hovercraft one that this one like brother uses. I forget what they're called, but there's these two brother characters, and one of them has like a mobile armor that turns into a jet. Or sorry, it turns into like a hovercraft. Absolutely beautiful. One of the supporting characters has a Gundam that turns into a jet. Again, just looks really clean. It all looks just really nice, all of the designs. The Gundam X, when its satellite receivers are like folded into its back, are, you know, they're not just an X on its back, they are to the side, giving this nice, beautiful asymmetry. It's a very unique design philosophy in it. Yeah, it is pretty much Fallout Gundam in that regard. Yeah, that's not a bad description. It's just after everything went to hell. Okay. I did not need to do that part. Because this part, actually, I need to panel line. Oh, actually, I need to shake up the panel liner because I don't know the last time I used it. Be a little liberal with this. If I need to, I can just clean it up later. This design seems very simple, so I don't think we'll be going to be doing too much prep. It should just be a 2-day build. No, actually, you saying that. Where did I put the Moon Gundam? The Moon Gundam is heavily inspired by the Zazabi, but I can definitely see that might be the other half of the puzzle. The Gundam X, in all honesty, because there's a lot of parts of the Moon Gundam that are just blatantly lifted from the Zazabi, but then there's other parts that don't really fit inside traditional Gundam design either, or at least UC Gundam. Like, I thought it was going to be like a half between the Zazabi and the new Gundam, but it's not quite the new Gundam, and it might have... You might be onto something with that. Ooh. Because... looking at the shoulders of the X right now, the shoulders of the Moon Gundam take obvious inspiration from the Zazabi, but there's definitely some feel I can see from the X as well. Ooh. Yeah, and actually looking at the X, it has a beautiful... its design, it really is beautiful. It has, even its V-fin is somehow uniquely beautiful to me. Put that here. Let's get that there. I don't know if it's my favorite AU Gundam design, but it's definitely up there. Ooh. And actually, I was talking about the mech design. The gem-likes are very unique in the fact that up until really GQ, I couldn't think of anything from Gundam that was so prominent for having tri-eyes, like I forget what they're called, but like the mobile suits, the gem-likes in Gundam X. Is this a recess? It is. Okay. And somehow it just works really well. It's actually kind of weird because you have Zaku-likes, but the Zaku-likes, because it's just a post-war setting, the Zaku-likes and the Jim-likes are kind of used interchangeably for just henchman bots in the show. I'm gonna move this down a little so you guys can hopefully have a better angle on it. Which I don't know if a lot of shows I've seen do that before. Sometimes like the Federation will become like the bad guy partway through the series, like in Seed or something. But really there is no spoiler, there is a remnant of the Federation, like the United Nations, Earth Command, whatever it's called. There is a fragment of it, but for the first half of the series, it again is just remnant, so it's whatever people can get a hold of is what they're using. So if that's the Zaku-like, which is also a beautiful design, it kind of has like a knightly feel to it. Or if it's the Jim-like, it's just what they have access to. That's gonna have to be cleaned up. It really enhances the feel that, again, it is this post-apocalyptic setting. Everyone's mechs also kind of like, it feels like you never see the same mechs twice in the series. Because even when you see another Jim-like, they're painted different colors because it's a different faction. It's always there's a loss of mass product singularity in the show, because again there is no longer this great overreaching authority, at least currently in the show, for these things to be under. So you'll have brown Jim-likes in one episode, and then you'll have, you know, blue ones in the next one. It's just a paint job, but it goes a long way to convey the fact that it's just different factions. Actually, paint your Master Grade Nemo to have a clownfish design color scheme. That's not bad. That's not a bad idea. Aren't Nemos normally blue? The mobile suit, that is. But you bringing up Gundam Seed, was it? Yeah, Infinite Justice. You bring up Gundam Seed. I remember, actually, I've said this many times on stream before, but just because it's topical, I'll say it again. I always remember that I was a little disappointed in Gundam Seed when I first saw it, because I didn't understand its... Because one thing I really thought was neat about Gundam is how the designs from one Gundam would transfer over to the next. So the most obvious would be like the Shenlong and Ultron from Wing Gundam being reiterated as, you know, the Snake Arm Gundams later on. I mean, the Dragon Gundam even before the Shenron. But like the, you know, the Gundams that have the extendo arms and whatnot. But I couldn't really see any designs that were transferred over from... Let me just get this. Transferred over from Gundam X to Gundam Seed initially, until I saw the Gundam Double X, and then I saw the... I don't remember if it's the Justice or Freedom, but one of those, and it's just like, oh, that's just a new paint job on the Gundam X. So So, I was happy to see that lineage being continued, that pattern being continued. Ooh. Gundam Seed was made for adolescent boys and girls. And so if you didn't grow up with it, it's a little cringe in that regard. It's very early 2000s anime. It is a product of its time. But if you grew up with it, you love it. Because if you're a boy, you're like, oh, the Atherin and Kira, like, rivalry. You know, it's like Naruto and Sasuke before Naruto and Sasuke. You know, it's like, ooh, they're friends once, but now they hate each other. The drama. And if you're a girl, you're like, there's a new love triangle every 5 episodes. So, like, it was just designed for that demographic, you know, just adolescent boys and girls, and it hits it out of the park for that. But if you're not an adolescent boy and girl and you didn't grow up watching it, you're just kind of sitting there going, I don't, like, not always, but a lot of times you just sit there and go, I don't really care about any of this. I just want to watch the 1 Year War. This is just the 1 Year War with extra fluff. Ooh. Man, see, still disappoints me, but I still have, yeah, ooh. I will give Seed credit in the fact that it had the balls to try to retell the 1 Year War. Yeah, I can paint these in. Because that's pretty ballsy to be like, we're going to retell the original Gundam. And though I don't think it really succeeded, for example, I have said this before, but the revelation of what the Bloody Valentine was, I found less impactful. That is messy as hell. I found less impactful than the revelation of the secondary effects of Operation British. Ooh. Like, I still remember, like, in the Bloody Valentine, it's just like, oh, they hit a colony and it blew up, and it's like, dang, that sucks. Meanwhile, there's an entire subplot in the original Gundam about the secondary effects of Operation British, where when they're going across North America, there's a woman who's like, hey, my husband's hometown is in this area. Can we just get off of White Base and just, you know, not be here anymore? And they're like, oh yeah, if he's like lives near here, sure. And then it's just revealed by Xeon pilots just going like, oh hey, she's trying to go to that one village, isn't she? Yeah. Oh dude, that village doesn't exist anymore. It got hit by the debris from Operation British. And you're just like, Jesus, like, but they say it like so casually. It's not that clunky. They just go like, oh yeah, that got like that doesn't exist anymore. And it's just the landscape's covered in craters from where like part of the colony broke up over North America and just peppered the land. And it's just like, it's all delivered so casually, just like, yeah, that's war, bro. And you're just like, God dang. And like Gundam just had moments like that. That you're just like, it's just, the war's already been going on. There's no like part where they go back and show you Operation British. No, you see it at the beginning of the series in the opener for the first like 20 episodes. And you're just supposed to understand, oh yeah, that's why the world's messed up now, because they threw a colony on it. Like you have to put that together yourself. It's old news to everyone in the story. Why would they bring it up? Why would they talk about it? It already happened. Ooh. So give credit to Seed when it's not focused on the main characters and focuses on the war. Ooh. The war is pretty interesting. I actually do want to say, we were talking about Gundam designs. Gundam Seed, I will say the aquatic mobile suits, I really like. I like the aquatic mobile suits of Gundam, we're supposed to be talking about Gundam X, but, of Gundam Seed. I do actually prefer them over the 1 Year War ones. All the 1 Year War designs look a little derpy. Or at least the classic 1 Year War designs can look a bit derpy at times. But all the, ones that I can remember of what is the war actually called in Gundam Seed? What's that war called? What's their 1 Year War called? I just realized I don't know its name. I know the Bloody Valentine incident, but I don't know what the war itself is called. But their 1 Year War mechs, in that regard, I do prefer. They seem more purpose-built instead of kind of these weird, awkward, fat boys that the Xeon had. I'm gonna have to do this off screen real quick. Ooh, just because it's a bit of a weird angle. Oh wow, that looks terrible, Merrick. That looks awful. I'm gonna have to clean that up. Ooh, not focusing properly. Maybe I shouldn't be, I tried to change the camera focus a little, and I'm worried that it might have lessened the picture quality. I'm gonna have to look at that in the VOD. One of those things that you can't really know until you do it. Funny thing is, I'm doing this, I'm probably just gonna wipe it all away when I clean it up. When I get the lighter fluid out, it's just gonna all go away, but it's experimentation, I can afford it. I like the Zaku Warrior too. I don't really like the fact that it's just called a Zaku Warrior and it just looks like a slimmed down Zaku. I feel like maybe a Xeon remnant should have had that design or something. It seems a little weird to have like an alternate universe where you just have something called a Zaku. I mean, I know that every universe has something called a Gundam, but that's because the show is called Gundam. It just seems it seems a bit much to have, you know, Zaku's and Gelgoogs, and I think don't they even have Goofs even in like the Gundam Seed universe? It just feels like they're kind of playing on that card a little too deep. Ooh. It's also kind of weird that the Zaku in it's kind of weird how the Zaku was the first mass-produced mobile suit in the 1 Year War, but then there's an alternate universe where it's just like this new high-end suit for like the next war. It is the... Well, I was gonna say the Hyzak, but the Hyzak wasn't really any good. But it's kind of like, it's the Hyzak of its universe, effectively, of an alternate universe, which is a little... I don't want to say silly, it's just a little funny. The Zoku. I would have laughed. I would laugh if it was named the Zoku. Ooh. I've asked this before on stream, but in Gundam Seed Destiny, do they keep up the naming convention where everything has to be an acronym? Because that was really terrible in like the original Gundam Seed, and it was very silly that everything's name had to be an acronym. It had to be broken down. It's just like, no. Everything had to be... is a little silly. I can't paint that at this angle, so I'm not gonna bother. Oh god. But actually, on the theme of, going back to Gundam X, on the theme of everything having trauma-based, every character has their own personal trauma, their own demons. Of course, Jamil is he's kind of weird. Jamil's interesting, because he's like a mix between Quattro Bagina, and he's the Quattro Bagina of Amuro clones. Which is actually kind of unique in its own right, because actually I don't think I know a lot of Amuro clones in AUs. Every universe has like a Char clone. Sometimes you'll get a Garma clone mixed in there, but I can't think of a lot of Amuro clones, and I feel like that's partially because he's the main character, so it's like you want to have your own main character, but it's kind of interesting to have an Amuro who didn't succeed in the war and has trauma based on that, who didn't stop didn't stop a lot of colony drops. It creates a very unique dynamic. And just like Quattro Bagina, he dresses absolutely fly as heck. Something about being traumatized and losing your new type abilities just makes it so you're a really snappy dresser. Oh no, not Capital City. Capital City. I love it. I love in fiction when places are just called the capital and whatnot. It's like we couldn't be bothered to figure out like its name. We're just gonna call it the capital. Maybe in like next season we'll figure out a name if we get renewed. Actually, now that I say this, does Gundam X have a Char clone? Now that I think about it, I'm not gonna accept the. I'm not no. If somebody says Karis, I'm not gonna accept that. The brothers aren't Char clones. The brothers are kind of their own unique beasts. Ooh. I don't know if I've seen a Char clone in Gundam X now that I think about it. Like we technically have a Quattro Bagina clone in the form of Jamil, but Jamil is again taking after Amuro, not Char. I just realized that. Though, not every, like, Gundam needs a Char clone, of course. In fact, a lot of times when people talk about Gundams having Char clones, I think some of them are a reach. Like, what is it? I always find it a reach to say that the brother of the main character in G Fighter is a Char clone. It's like they both wear masks, and it's like, Char is more than just a character who wears a mask. Like, no. I don't like that one. They both wear masks and are mysterious and have like their backstories are tied to like the events of the story and why things are wrapping up the way they are. It's like I feel like there's more to it than that. I need to do this off screen because it's a weird angle. There's also another one where I don't really agree on the term. Oh, Atherin. I've seen people say like Atherin's a Char clone because again he's the rival, and it's like that's like saying Jared is a Char clone from Zeta Gundam. I won't accept it. Ooh, you can't just be a rival and be like, yeah, that makes him a Char clone. No, it doesn't. You have a good bathroom break, my man. Ooh. What is actually everyone's trauma? Everyone's trauma is, let's see here. Just running through the characters. Jamil, I said his trauma is the fact that, you know, he literally fought in the final battle of the final war and got to watch the entire Earth get destroyed. Fun times. Ooh. The main character has trauma in the fact that his father just died on a young age, and his earliest memory is the impact winter after the colonies were dropped. So he's only known a world of suffering and just a world of having nothing, effectively. His first memories were not of a sunrise, but of a sky perpetually, you know, blotted out by debris from countless colonies falling onto the planet. It's heavy stuff. I think that might be everything. That might be all the prep. It's a pretty simple build. Oh wait, no, there's some prep on the feet we can do. And I think I should probably increase the light. Feels a little lackluster. Hello, Opus. Yes, we are speaking of the trauma of the Gundam series. That's a lot better. That's a lot better. But yes, it's all trauma in Gundam X in a good way. It's, the reason it's all trauma is because it's about working through trauma and working to a better day. Ooh. Which makes it actually very good to follow up having finished Gurren Lagann recently. To go and watch it, because Gurren Lagann also has themes about trauma and working through it. I'm kind of happy. I'm not happy the fact that it took me so long to finish Gundam X. But I'm happy that I watched Gurren Lagann before continuing it. Feet For free? These are feet, aren't they? Ooh. Did it? Oh my god, I'm not even at 50. What is it? Not even at 50,000 subscribers, let alone 100,000. Still funny that Pippa promised that to her chat, and so when she got to that point, she followed through with it. And so it's just a tradition in like that circle of VTubing that when you get to 100,000, you just share your feet pics. Ooh. You just share a singular foot pic. Ooh. There we go. Gundam feet, very lewd. Actually, looking at these feet, I am a little worried. I'm just gonna say right now. This guy actually looks like he might be a smaller mech, so it might not be a problem. But from my experience, these are very not trustworthy feet. Thin feet on Gunpla are not trustworthy. I had a Hyakushiki that cannot stand up on its own. And it's way newer than this, but the Hyakushiki has flat feet, very thin feet, and it cannot stand up on its own, the high grade. It's so bad, proportionally speaking, that I decided not to get the master grade. I know that might not be considered the most fair thing to do, but it just can't stand on its own power, chat. On its own power, on its own. So I am a little worried about that, though the Hyakushiki is supposed to be a space mech, so I don't hold it too much against it. It's just a little disappointing that, again, when I try to get it to stand up, it just falls over. Okay, looks like we can actually start some building today. Not surprising, but... What's that? 1 minute. Wow, this looks way more complicated than it needs to look. Oof. Oof. Okay, I'm gonna put that there. I'm just gonna... I hope that means that it's a good build for its age. But, oh my. Garrett, who's the Gundam pilot, as I said, his memories of are just, he doesn't know anything before. He knows nothing of like the before times before the world was messed up. His earliest memories are the impact of winter. Jared has the war trauma. But even like the secondary characters, even the other Gundam pilots have their own traumas. I don't remember their names because I'm terrible with names. So we're gonna call the guy with the long hair who pilots the heavy arms like Gundam. We're gonna call him Pretty Boy. The guy in like a Maverick flight jacket, like he walked out of Top Gun, and his mech is the flying mech that, you know, transforms. He's Flyboy. You think I would remember their names after 20 episodes? You'd be damn wrong about that. You'd be completely wrong about that. But they have their own traumas as well. Is this the wrong? Is this? No, this is the correct one. Yeah, this is correct. Okay. They have their own traumas as well. Ooh. Actually, and they have an episode dedicated. It's dedicated to both of them, but after... Oof. I think it's after they encounter their first cyber new type, after that arc, is when they have like episodes dedicated to those two characters. There we go. At first it comes across as a filler episode, you know. I'm just like, oh, you know, like we just had this big arc, so they're just having this filler episode to like let things kind of calm down before they go into the next thing. And that is technically true on like a tone level, but both characters, it's really used to explore both characters' backgrounds. Because what they do is they pretty much both have a day off before, you know, the journey continues. And so they go to, you know, address anything that they need to address before they go on a long journey. And Pretty Boy, throughout almost his entire story, is just going from woman to woman, just giving them flowers. He's like, oh, hey, I haven't seen you in a while. He's a flower. And they're like, oh my God, you're so hot. And I was like, I know I am. You know, that's just what's happening. That's his subplot. And there is a turn. There is a more serious turn for his story later on. But with the Flyboy, earlier on in the series, we found out he was saving money for his family. And that actually is its own... Okay. And that has its own, like, a big subplot earlier in the series. But he has his own money, so he's going to give money to his family. There's a little bit of tension in the fact that, like, his family... I think they lost their father because of a mobile suit raid, so, like, his mother isn't really the most appreciative to the concept of mobile suits, so he has to keep it a secret that he pilots a mobile suit, and that's how he got all the money. But the episode, if I remember correctly, because it's been a little while, it kind of takes a turn in the fact that where I thought it was going to be, I thought the drama of the episode was going to be the mother being like, you pilot a mobile suit, I disown you, I don't want this money, or something like that. Something really cliche. The focus of it wasn't that. It was upon the main character's trauma, where he has left his family to support them, and when he comes back, he has found his family has changed. He has found that his family is beginning to move on from the death of his father. While his life has been consumed by filling in the void his father left behind, his family has had to move on, and his mother is in a relationship with a new man, and he feels like this is a betrayal. Like, he hasn't moved on from the trauma because from his perspective, it takes up so much of it. Everything he does is to support his family because of the trauma of losing the father, while his family has the leisure to move on, and that's where all the trauma comes in. And I was really, really impressed. I have no idea what piece that is. I was really, really impressed by the fact that that's the direction they took his story. Ooh. That the drama wasn't, you know, this cliched thing that I was saying it, like I was predicting it to be. It was actually thought out and unique. And as for Pretty Boy, who's going around seeing women the entire time, saying like, I won't be able to see you for a while, babe, and they're like, oh no, oh, you're so beautiful. You know, that guy's story, how it ends is it also ends with kind of just like an abrupt, like, surprise. Because it's very much a B plot. It's very much in the background of what's happening. You know, Flyboy gets the focus of the story because he has a lot more meat to his story. But when we finally get to see the end of Pretty Boy's story, has like one last flower and he just places it on a grave. And that grave is of the one woman who he actually cared about, of the one woman who he actually loved. And everything changes context of what he's been doing, of how he has all these relationships to fill this void, and like it just recontextualizes his entire like story. It makes him going from like this creepy woman, like not creepy, but it makes him go from like this just womanizer who's just going like this pretty boy womanizer to this, you know, troubled and broken man himself. And they actually play upon that later in the series when Jamil goes to save somebody he once loved, and before the battle, Pretty Boy actually has high nerves because he is reminded of his, like, he directly empathizes with Jamil because of the circumstance of having to save a woman who they don't know if they can save. It's little character moments like that that really elevate Gundam X. into being this really interesting series that I am sad that I have put off because I just got distracted with other things, but I'm really happy to be back into watching again. Because it's one of the strongest. I don't want to say this like, other Gundam series don't focus on their characters. They absolutely do, but the character work in Gundam X is this really strong because it just has this overriding theme that draws all the characters together, that they're all in it together because of all the trauma that I'm talking about. And even the villains have this theme going on with them. Ooh. And a great example of this is the character Enel, who's a reoccurring kind of minor antagonist in the series. And if you don't know who Enel is, chat, well, longtime viewers, Opus would at least know. It's the woman who I said I love, and like her introduction is her just going, I'm gonna pay like $300,000 for this Gundam, and then she just walks onto screen, and I'm like, she walked right out of the 90s into my heart. Heck, I'll get up the clip. Let me see here. Browse. If I can hopefully find it, I'll get up the clip. Not necessary that you need to know what she looks like. I don't want to talk about it if I can show it. There it is. Okay? Under the hand cam, that's ironic. Okay. So we're gonna make this a little small so we don't get copyright. 300 million, this character. Is it necessary for me to show this? No. Do I want to show it? Yes. But Anil L, which is the character's name, she also has trauma. But how they introduce her trauma is different because everyone else has their trauma, their baggage before the series. Her baggage is gained in the series, where she's kind of this bandit. She's happy to be a bandit. And then she kind of like gets BTFO'd. She gets a little bit Team Rocketed a few times. That's a gross simplification, but I think it fits, and I think it fits close enough. She gets Team Rocketed a few times, and she's like, you know what? I'm just gonna go to the deserted, like not a deserted, I'm gonna go to an island where people, have technology still. It was like a safe haven after the war, and I'm just gonna reinvent myself there. Ooh. But throughout her time, is this the wrong piece? Okay. Throughout her time on the island, she's racked with kind of guilt over the fact that she has this past that she's not telling her would-be fiance about, and so she can't get closer to the people on the island, and this is again put into focus by her would-be fiance and just her not, again, being able to commit to him because of all of this, that she has, this baggage, she has this trauma of being part of something that she might not be so proud of, doing things that she might not be so, happy with looking on that she's done them. This is the wrong piece, isn't it? I cut out the wrong piece. No, this is correct. Okay. So her we get to see the origin of her baggage a little more directly than we get to see a lot of other characters. And I'm only halfway through the series. We're only talking about halfway through the series. I'm gonna just destroy through the other half tomorrow and the day after. But right now, as it sits, she actually has... What happens is she's on this island, and she's kind of content. She's like trying to move on, and she thinks she can move on. And it's actually one of the crew of the Friedan, which is the main character's ship, who convinces her to move on. But then she realizes that the person she's talking to is from the Friedan, And she kind of just goes like, well, I can't move on. Like, that piece of knowledge just means like I have the thing that has held me back in front of me. I need to confront it. Ooh. And she goes out, she steals a mobile armor, and pretty much does a flyby of the Freedan, but doesn't destroy it. Instead, she just flies off because she can't bring herself to destroy it because she befriended one of the crew members of the Freedan, and she already has, and she wants that desire to move on. So I'm really fascinated with what her character is going to be as the show develops. Everyone is interesting. There's also Karis, who is the pilot of like the kind of mobile armor Quibbly thing that I was talking about earlier. Again, he was like just a orphan kid or something he was just like this powerless kid effectively who was told that, you know, by effectively a mad scientist, hey, I can make you into a cyber new type and I can give you power. I can make you from one of the lowest to one of the highest in society. I can give you power, effectively, is all it is. And he took that offer up, but there was cost to it. Ooh, but he accepted the cost. He accepted the horrible migraines, the fact that he became effectively comatose as he recovered from, you know, the side effects of the procedure, you know, regularly each month. He accepted it because he thought, you know, because he believed in it. He believed that, you know, this is just the price of power, and this is just what all new types have to go through, until he encounters a new type in Tifa, who's a natural, who's not a cyber new type, who is just born that way. And it just shakes his belief. Ooh. And in finding out that his life is a lie, he turns to self-destructive paths. Ooh. He fights against the main characters, purposely putting his life at undue risk in the battle, and effectively purposely losing. So that way the main character will kill him. Ooh. It's just... But it's not... But the show isn't about succumbing to your trauma. Because though he's hit, though he's hurt, he still recovers in the end. And though he ends up getting abused even more than he already has been by the as the arc continues by his creator, the person who made him a cyber new type, by the end he still like is optimistic to the future. He's still like, hey, all that terrible things happened, but like we can still make a better future. I can go back to this town and help them rebuild, and we can do better. And it's a very nice, optimistic story, especially for Gundam, which, especially in the UC, is effectively a universe where everything has to get worse because it's part of the messaging, you know. Gundam is an example of what not to do as a universe, so every time, you know, you have somebody who could make the right decision in Gundam, 9 times out of 10, they make the bad decision, because you need to know what the bad decision is. Oh hey, does Char overcome his trauma and, you know, lead humanity and like he lead Earthoids and Spaceoids into a better future? No, he succumbs to his trauma. He gets held down by gravity and then, you know, literally tries to bring everyone down with him. Well, that's like the worst thing he could have done. Yeah, that's the point. So I do appreciate AUs for that. Where in the UC, you have some really, really heavy things, and thematically it does feel like everything has to get worse at times. In UCs... Is this the correct piece? Oh wait, no, these aren't poly... What? In AUs, it feels like they are more able to kind of have that breadth. Okay, I see my confusion. Not only that, but in Gundam X, they kind of already had, you know, everything go to hell in the whole colony, multi-colony drop. Ooh. This is a really good series, though. Okay, that goes there. No, wait, no, wait, no, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. you go here. And a little bit of a precise kit where you have to cut out and put in pieces one at a time at some parts. Slows things down a little. And then you... No, wait. And then this one is supposed to stick out like this. So this one's supposed to be pointing upwards. This one's supposed to be pointing back. At least per the instructions. And then E1. There's two E1s to make it confusing for my tiny pea brain. Then E1. What time is it? Huh, neither eye has gone out yet. Oh, that's a good thing. Okay. That's why there's two. Oh my god. Okay, so here's the instructions, and because of the geometry of this piece, you can't see that there is, like, you can tell here that there's supposed to be one that goes here as well, but it's just annoying that you can't see it on the kit itself because of the geometry, and sometimes that's just how the cookie crumbles. It's still a little annoying. It's also interesting the fact that we have effectively plastic polycaps here at this point of the build, which is something about like the around 100 kits is sometimes you just kind of get these more experimental parts like this where they're kind of like not moving past polycaps even in the slightest. Trust me, they're not moving past polycaps in this kit, but they're trying not to like rely overly much on polycaps. It feels like there's an understanding that these are high stress points that are going to be constantly moved for the kit, which you might say like that's true for all polycaps, but these ones are more exposed, as you can see. The one polycaps would stick out more considering how exposed they are, and I hate you so much right now. Ooh. Sorry, I have to take this off and put it back on. Ooh. But they're more exposed, but also just they're going to be twisted and turned in that more exposed, more fragile state. So they used plastic, which is heavily appreciated. Do I have my X-Acto blade? Yes, I do. I need to clean this piece off real quick. I meant to talk about this a little more linearly, but we kind of have been hopping all over the place with the show. It's also kind of for a 90s show. It probably feels like one of the most like 80s successors to Gundam I've come across. One of the most 80s AU shows, even though there's no 80s AU shows. That's because they'll do things like it's like episode 17 or 16, where it's just like, here's a new type dolphin, and it's just like, excuse you? Yeah, dude, this new type dolphin, it saves other dolphins from being harvested into like becoming servitors, like 40k servitors, and it's like, excuse you? Like all that comes out a bit left field, I'll be honest with you, chat. Okay, there we go. But it's like there's a dolphin that's white, that's a new type, kinda sorta, that like that saves other dolphins from becoming servitors, and you're just kind of sitting there like, okay, I guess I just have to accept this, whatever. And then it's like inspired by the main characters to help, and by help I mean call out to the servitor 15. Okay. The servitor dolphins inside the aquatic mobile suits that are being used as navigations, effectively. Pretty much they harvest the living brains of dolphins and use them to navigate as like advanced sonar systems. Ooh. And it pretty much just calls out to the advanced sonar systems and The advanced sonar systems are like, okay, and then blow themselves up. And like, in the episode, it's really meaningful, and like, in the episode, it's well executed. But I don't really know how to describe it out of context. Like, I don't really know how to describe, like, how to do it justice. It's a good episode. There's a lot being said in it. There's a lot happening in it. But it's one of those things where it's like, how the hell am I supposed to, like, talk about that? There we go. There's just a whole lot to talk about the series overall. Actually, the reason I wasn't able to finish the series today, outside of the fact that 20 episodes in a day might be a bit much, in a work day at least, might be a bit much, was more the fact that I had to just refresh myself on all the, like, first half of the series. There's a good level, like, even though there wasn't a lot of prep, there's a good level of detail in this kit. Good amount of natural color separation. Let's start working on the head. Where I left off in the series, though, they just reintroduced, like, factions of the, United Nations Earth Command, or whatever it's called. There's, like, remnants of that, and it's just like, okay, so these are going to be, like, our antagonists moving forward. But what I found interesting is how they introduced the concept. How they introduced the concept before they introduced the actual United Earth. And they introduced it more so because of, like, splinter factions from the war. Because originally, there were no, like, splinter factions from the war. It was just bandits. It was just Mad Max, you know, bandits going across the deserts. Just instead of in vehicles, they were going around in mobile suits, effectively. But how they introduced it was actually first through the Xeon-like. It was through the mad scientist who was like a former scientist for whatever this universe's Xeon is. And he's like, you know, they threw all the colonies on Earth, but I think we could go farther. I think we should just, you know, just take a more personal touch. You know, we should just make this mobile armor that I found underground. We should just bring it up and just start destroying all life on the surface, you know? Like, that's the purpose of the colony drop. We didn't succeed. We need to go farther, you know? We did not go far enough, you know? An impact winter that, you know, wiped out 98% of human life. Sorry, 99% of human life. Not enough. We can go farther. We can get those numbers up. Ooh. But like, that's kind of our first introduction that there are people from the old war who effectively want to continue the war. Prior to that, I'm pretty sure everyone is kind of they're just picking up the scraps. You know, they want power, they want, you know, influence, and they want to use what influence and power those scraps can give them, but they're not fighting on behalf of the old ideology. But this character in, what is it, episode 10 through 13 or 14, he is carrying on the ideals of the war, even though the war's over, even though his side won the war. He's like, we could win harder, you know? We didn't go far enough. We could commit more war crimes. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the ambition, absolutely, you know, Xeon mentality, 100% respect it, but it is still a little silly. Like, you absolutely have your victory, and he's just like, we can go further. Ooh. So, I like the fact that the idea is introduced first through the Xeon, like, first through the victors, effectively, through the people who already got what they want, and how far they'll go to get more of what they want, to kind of stick the knife in deeper. And it kind of subconsciously puts into your mind the question of, okay, what about the people who lost? What about the Federation of this universe? Like, if the people who won will go further, will literally just use a twink as a new type battery to like power a mobile armor, which out of context sounds really weird, I know, but stick with me. If they'll do that, you know, if they're so tied to their convictions, they'll just do that when they've already won. What will the people who've lost and have nothing left, what will they do to regain that power? You know, how far will they go to reinstitute what they've lost? Ooh. And thank you. And actually, before they introduced the United Nations, blah blah blah, they established that the United Nations were not good guys in this universe, that the Feddies were not good guys in the slightest in this universe, because where in the original Gundam, some of the bad things that the Federation did was a little obfuscated because you were focusing on Amuro's story, coming of age, and the war itself. Ooh. So that kind of gets brushed under. Prior to the United Nations being reintroduced, or the faction, or like the Splinter faction being reintroduced, we are introduced to what they were doing at the end of the war, and that is they were taking new types, and just like the Zeon faction, they were taking new types and pretty much plugging them into war machines. They were like, hey, this person, if we, you know, do the right things, we can just make them into a reusable EMP. You know, like one of the most powerful psychics on Earth. You know, but she's like, she was one of our greatest soldiers, but she got disillusioned with the war, so just plug her into an EMP machine. And it's just like, oh my god. And like the worst part about the EMP machine is it keeps her conscious throughout. Like she's always conscious, and it keeps her on like life support, you know, for indefinitely, effectively, while she's in it. And you're just like, oh my god. And she's just been under the ocean, under like at the bottom of a sea for like the last, what is it, like 15 years, I think, is how long ago the war was in Gundam X. And it's just kind of just this casual, just like, yeah, we just converted our soldiers into like super weapons because we just didn't care, you know, like they were no longer, they were disillusioned, so they weren't training new types for us. We just made them into a weapon. There's just this casualness to the inhumanity of the Federation in how they're introduced, really. Like right before they're introduced, that really makes it so that when they're introduced, you're just like, these are just a bunch of bureaucrats who have no connection to what's happened, and like what the world has become or what the world was before it fell. And they're going to do, and they're not going to care one bit about what it's going to cost other people for them to get back into power. And again, they haven't effectively done anything yet. Like the where I got to was they have a meeting, and then it's like, this is the UN, like this is the new UN, effectively. This is the new UN forces, and that's as far as I got. And I just know all this just from all this setup of, again, of like what the people who won the war have already done, and what the Federation was doing, or UN was doing, before the war was lost. And how it's presented as them all just kind of being almost, despite having this big meeting about everyone coming together over like what their next plan of action is, everyone seems disinterested in it because there's this bureaucratic air about it. It's doing a very good job, Gundam X. Ooh. In communicating what it wants to say. I think I'm gonna have to do this off camera. Yes. But even though I've yet to finish it, I can really feel that it is going to be one of the stronger AUs that I'm going to watch. And I know that's a shame because it got canceled in Japan and was never even brought over. It was never brought over to the US. You can only get subs. Not that that's a bad thing. I mean, It just makes it so that I can't put it on in the background. Like that's the only real difference between subs and dubs for me. But at the same time, the show's so good, I want to give it that extra focus. Because it deserves it, and I need to line this up. A really excellent series, and if you haven't watched Gundam X, you should. Even if you don't like subs, it's worth it, because you're going to want to give it that extra attention anyways. And I didn't cut off this piece correctly. Ooh. There we go. Hold on, this is gonna take a second. Ooh, come on, be a friend, be a pal. I don't like how my text is pink. This is gonna be really petty, but I don't like how my text is pink on Twitch, but then on the, as you can see there on the window, the mirror, it's orange. I don't like the inconsistency, and I don't know what I'm doing wrong here. I know what I'm doing wrong. Okay, I hate when I have to do things off camera like this. There we go. Okay. Oh my god, I have to take it off. Wait a minute. I'm supposed to put on the mask before doing that. Uh-oh. Oh, thank God, that came undone really easily. Oh, thank God. Oh my God, this gets so many points for that. Oh my God, having a head like that I can deconstruct that easily while it's still being firmly put together, that is truly worth praise, I will admit. Is that a gate? Oh, I didn't cut off this gate. It's also really nice because the ball, which was the last thing we built, a problem I had with it was realizing that it has a little bit of what in LEGO are called illegal building techniques. And what that means is when you put it together, you can't unput it together. That it is physically impossible without damaging the mold to take something apart after being put together. Those are called illegal building techniques. And I'm pretty sure the ball has several of those, even though it's a really simple build. Once it's together, there are certain elements I don't think you can take apart without, like, breaking it. God, that's a beautiful V-fin. What time are we at? Well, yeah, an hour and a half. Okay, we'll build the arms then, I think. I feel like I did the neck wrong or something, because it feels like there's no mobility in the neck. Yeah, the neck feels like there's like no mobility in it at all. That's a little disappointing. But let me check the rest of my Gundam X notes. Gosh, dang, I have a lot of notes. Ooh. The refresher notes, the episodes that I had to refresh on, it's just like, you know, it's a few words per episode. But then the episodes where I started taking notes again and having like while watching the episodes, it's just jammed packed with information. Okay. Did I put this away wrong? No, I didn't. Oh, sorry for hitting the camera. I will say that because, like, the Gundam X does so many things different. Get out of here, hair. than just other AUs. And it's kind of surprising in the regard the fact that it's actually such an old AU. What was it? Was it like the third AU? Let me think. G-Fighter was the first AU technically, then you had Wing. Is X after Wing? Is X the third AU? Because if it is, that's really ambitious for what it did. Because it didn't really tell a... You know... Like, it does tell an alternate timeline story. Like how, again... But it doesn't retell things, is what I'd say, is what makes it really surprising that they did it so early. Because at the end of the day... Gundam Wing retells a lot of narrative, like retells things like the Grips conflict, just with a little bit of a different flavor. While this is very much a what-if scenario. It's effectively what if Zeon won by just throwing everything at Earth. And in all honesty, I kind of prefer that because it gives a little bit more freedom to the world than just telling an alternate story of what we've already seen, like say with Seed. Where Seed is just a retelling of the 1 Year War, you have an actual, you know, alternate universe with Gundam X. I don't want to shit on Gundam Seed in that regard, it's just that Gundam Seed is the first thing that came to mind. Oh my god, did it oh my god, did the piece go through the screen and hit you in the eye, Opus? I'm so sorry. Actually, on Discord, I said that our next watch-along was going to be Whiplash. That might not be the case, actually, because I realized I might want to watch Young Frankenstein as a watch together. When we finish Frankenstein, we are going to be... Actually, so I don't make an ass out of myself, let me double check the poll. But on Discord, I let you guys vote for what we're reading next. If we would jump straight into Frankenstein or read Call of Cthulhu. Let me see here. Yeah, we're reading Call of Cthulhu next. Ooh. But I was considering, like, when we're done with Frankenstein, I was like, could we just, like, watch Young Frankenstein as a watch-along? I typically don't like to do comedies as watch-alongs because talking over the jokes kind of... I can talk over the commentary and whatnot, but, like, I don't know, talking over the jokes seems like a little extra wrong because I want to hear the jokes again. But that might be something fun to do, so it might be Young Frankenstein instead. And it kind of depends on when I can do a Whiplash. If I can schedule a Whiplash like within the next 2 to 3 weeks, then we'd probably do Whiplash, but if not, then I'd have to schedule it around the same time as a Young Frankenstein watch-along. So what I'm trying to say is that Whiplash, if it's not happening within the next 2 to 3, like 1 to 2 weeks, it's probably not going to happen until August. But we're probably going to do Young Frankenstein, because that just seems like a really fun one to do. I did see the Project Hail Mary trailer, and it actually looked neat to me. I know that might not seem like really praise at all, but I'm very cynical when it comes down to films. Ooh. It looks very, very... Like, even though its premise is kind of like... Okay. Like, its premise is a little... weird sounding, I will admit. Did I do this correctly? You know, I'll be able to see if I did this correctly. Like, the fact that I understand that, like, even though he's a 6th grade teacher, he has, like, you know, he chooses to be a 6th grade teacher, but is actually, like, an expert in this field. He kind of is just more, it just more states the fact that he's humble. But it's pretty much a dude is sent off to an alien star to figure out why stars are dying and why that star isn't dying, and he meets an alien along the way. And that's kind of the whole, like, premise of what they've shared in the story. And I don't know, it looks neat. Ooh. But it's being advertised all over the place on Twitter, though. Like, after seeing it, seeing the trailer, I just noticed that, like, the trailer is just... I don't know if it's for everyone, but for me, it's just being pushed really hard on my Twitter. Did I do that? Yes, I did that right. Okay, so you are also right. Oh, thank God. After messing up the ball last week, I didn't... I had a 50-50 shot. I got all wrong on the ball, but I got it right here, chat. We finally got it. Oh my God, best viewers? Oh my goodness. Oh, let me get a better read of that. Oh my goodness. Oh, it got deleted. Oh, that's a shame. That's a shame. Oh my God. Heard from the people I trust implicitly about the culture. Oh, it's based off of a book. Not surprising, because that's just... It's safer to, you know, make adaptations and whatnot, but... If it's a good book, okay. Gosling himself is kind of hit or miss with me. I know a lot of people, like, swear by Gosling. It just kind of depends on what role he's in. I think... Ooh. But it looks like this role, I kind of like what he's doing. I kind of like how he looks in this role. So that also has me interested. It's just a personal thing. It's just Ryan Gosling. I'm either just like interested or not interested in, depending on the role, depending on like the character. Like no real statement on him as an actor. It's just a personal taste thing. Nothing against the man, just not a fan, as you say. Ooh. 15. Okay, we're just gonna cut this whole thing off. Because there's no reason not to. I shouldn't say this on stream because it's like a guarantee I'm never going to do it if I say it on stream. Ooh. But I do really like the idea of making a timeline of just, like, the thing and, like, breaking down when people may have been infected and whatnot. Just make, like, a classic Wendigoon style video, or even just stream, like, just do it live even, of me just going, like, okay, so, like, I watched the thing, like, you know, once a week for, like... No, it's not. I watched the thing, like, twice a week for, like, a month, and, like, you know... wrote analyses and went to like behind the scenes things every other day, and this is what I figured out. The Thing would probably be the one movie I'd do that with, but also I mean it's only one movie I could really think of doing something of that nature with. Let's see here, C14. I don't know where that piece is. Okay. Oh, then what's this? Oh, that's A. Okay. But at the same time, I'd kind of want to do it just because... Normally, I don't really care to do analysis or breakdowns or whatever, because usually they've been done before, and I'm like, those people have it, they can handle it, kind of thing. But for The Thing, there is so much, like, half-baked analysis of it that it's kind of that I feel like there is room to say some things about it, that people will like make theories but not think them all the way through. Like I said during the watch along, how people like McCready's a thing, and it's just like McCready can't be a thing. Like McCready is one of the few characters throughout the film where we can be pretty sure he's not a thing due to, like, you know, just what's happening to him in the film. But, like, you just get theories like that, and it's just... For me, I realize that, like, a lot of people just haven't... I don't know if I've ever seen anyone actually break down, like, the timetable of the thing, when things happen day by day, minute by minute, hour by hour. Also, people will take like singular moments in the movies and then use those to. I've also talked about this during the watch along. The fact that people, when is it Nulls or Fuchs? I forget which character is which. But when the stoner, during the blood test scene where the stoner is revealed to be a thing. Spoiler. This is an old movie. If you haven't seen the thing yet, that's your own fault. But when he's revealed to be a thing, he doesn't have light in his eyes, and that was a intentional choice by the cinematographer to show that he lacks a spark of humanity. So that way, you know, it's foreshadowing, pun unintended, of what's to come with that character. Oh, I messed that up a little. It's foreshadowing the fact that he already has no humanity, and it's just going to be revealed shortly, just to the depths of how little humanity he has, which is none. But what piece am I looking for? E. But people will take that one-off scene, that one-off technique, and then apply it to the entire film, and then be like, well, this guy in this one scene didn't have like eye reflection. That must mean he's an alien, like he's a thing, and it's like. No, what it means is that his eyes weren't being lit, you know, because you can't do that for an entire film. You can do that when you have a character who's stationary sitting down in one spot, but when you have characters running around, yes, in the middle of a shot, their eye reflection might go away for a moment because they're in shadow. That's not the same as having this, you know, shot that's set up specifically during the scene to foreshadow what's to come immediately in the same scene. It's a little silly. Ooh. How people want to jump to things in analysis of that. And where the hell is the E? Sorry for cursing. I want to finish the arms before we're done today. And I don't know where... there is E. I found it. Not sure if that would work, though, better as a video or live stream. Either way, it would be a long one. The video would, of course, require more editing for me to cut up clips and whatnot. But I feel like would technically also require me to have could allow me to have less assets. If I did it on a stream, I'd have to have a whole presentation, and you are not symmetrical, are you? You little bastards. Why are you not symmetrical? This piece isn't wanting to go in. There we go. Kind of a crazy difference that when I'm rested, how fast a build can go from when I'm not. Because I'm talking while building, and it's not slowing me down. Meanwhile, my brain is hemorrhaging when I'm sleep deprived. Actually, this is gonna sound weird for the movie. We should be talking about X, but what I want to talk about Hail Mary a little bit more. Because this is gonna sound a little weird to say. Or at least I expect it's gonna sound a little weird. But, what piece is this? D? Okay. One thing that actually got me interested from the trailer is how much of just a normal dude Gosling's character feels like. Eight and 9. Like, he's just like, I don't want to do this, you know, because who would want to do it, in all honesty? But also the fact that it's specifically the scene when is like talking to his journal, and he says like, "Oh, I found an alien," you know. Ooh. And he makes this like really stupid like, you know, Ridley Scott alien joke, you know. It's like, "Oh, like, you know, like at least it's not inside me," or something like that. Ooh. Like it likes being with me, you know, but you know, I think it likes to be with me, you know, better than it being inside me. And I'm just like, God, that's such a lame joke. But at the same time, I could totally see like a middle school teacher doing that shit, even when they're like, even when they're hundreds upon hundreds of millions upon millions of miles away from Earth, because this is built into their freaking DNA. Yeah, it's just the little lines of dialogue throughout it really made him feel more human, where he's just like, yeah, I'm here. I don't want to be here, but I am. This is kind of this general acceptance of it. It just feels very much like a normal dude, and I've never really appreciated until building this that there's purple in the Gundam X design. I've never really thought about it. But having, you know, the color separation and them isolated, it really comes into focus. Let me cut out the rest of the pieces. "12:12, it is late." Phone, shut up. Oh my god, I'm gonna have to watch like all of the episodes, then like abbreviate the notes, because these notes are way too like I'm taking notes on like every scene here. These are not notes that you can use to talk about things. But there's just so much that happens in it. There's so many little moments in the series that go forward to like propel its themes. Like every moment of Jamil, the Amuro, like having, you know, every time he hesitates, every time he's held down by gravity, he has his trauma holding him back, is an important scene that should be noted. But when you note every one of those scenes, it gets a little hard to like read for, you know, stream is the problem. So I really need to abridge these notes. So I am really curious as to just how far the show is going to go. Because it got canceled and it had to wrap up. I hear that even though it had to rush its ending, it's still good. But I'm kind of curious how far it goes, because the original Gundam was famously canceled. But it's still, like, it had its last 5 episodes canceled, which isn't good by any metrics, but they had everything set up, so they just had to like condense everything really quickly in the last few episodes. You know, just have Giran kill his papa and just be like, okay, now we're in the final battle because, you know, everything's kicking off, you know. The command structure of both sides are just gone and we're just fighting like mad dogs. Okay. But meanwhile, like in this though, like they have maybe I don't know when they would have found out that they were effectively canceled, but they had like the last 10 episodes cut effectively, so ooh, that's kind of a different beast. Phone, I want you to shut up. Stop notifying me of things. It's not good for stream. See here? 20 and 19. Which arm am I building right now? Okay, I need to push this back a little. I have no idea how long tomorrow's stream is going to be with the 4th of July theme, that is. Because we're just gonna be singing songs for the July 1st, but I don't really know how many songs I got in me. I have no idea what piece this is. So I got some songs dedicated to specific states. Let's see here. One. I do like, even though it's not high quality plastic because it's old, I do like on stream when I'm able to get these builds that have that loud snapping. It's really satisfying. We need E5. Let's see. Also, I don't know why, but these sprues feel a lot more organized than the last ones we were using. I say this while I'm not able to find B. There we go. And we need to get the polycaps now. No, I already cut out the polycaps. We just need to clean off these pieces. Then we can just go into it. I've talked about where we've been in the series. I feel like it's a good idea to talk about where I hope the series goes, because it's all about trauma, and very evidently about overcoming your trauma and moving forward. The show of Gundam X. There we go. So, get out of here, you little freak. There we go. I'm kind of interested in how everyone will get their resolution to their trauma. If everyone will get their resolution to their trauma. I do wonder, because the show hasn't really been holding back punches. So it wouldn't surprise me if it kind of denies a picturesque perfect ending. If the ending comes at a cost, and how it has a bit of a statement that there is always trauma, that there is always a scar, that there is no just bright, happy ending where we wipe away what's happened. You gotta live with what happened, and I'd really expect Gundam X, just because the quality of its writing, to go with that more mature and grounded just take on trauma. Which will be a little bit bittersweet in the end, but it'll also stick with you a lot more than if they just were like, oh no, we just had everything got resolved. This goes here. Why? Why is that so fragile? We just broke a piece. Womp womp. What? Why would you leave? Oh my god, that piece just snapped right off, chat. Okay, well, that was horrific. If you don't know what happened, you see how there's nothing there? Well, this is supposed to be there. Wow, it was a clean break too, which is both a good and bad thing. Okay. It's a bad thing because it shows how brittle the plastic is. It's a good thing because it's easy to repair. It's a bad thing because I'm wearing gloves. Okay. We're just gonna let that dry. Oh, hello! Ooh, hello, Rick. Oh, not you, Opus. As I get out of here to like a little gate that was on this build that was stuck on my finger. Okay, I think that's gonna be fixed up by the time we get to it. Okay, let's get this on. There we go. Then we need to... I just need to make sure I do this correctly. Okay. So, like this. Okay. After messing up the ball, an incredibly simple build, you can really tell how hesitant I am to like overly commit to anything while building now. I say that and I think I just messed this up. What did I do here? Did I misalign it or did I put on the wrong piece? I misaligned. I put on the wrong piece. You see what I mean? I'm very stupid. Somehow, while saying I'm super hesitant, I messed up that badly. There we go. And that means you go on like this and like this. I just realized I don't know which one is my left hand, which one is my right arm. Oh, crap. This one must be this one. Okay. And then... That's done, that's done. Okay, then we plug this in. Luckily, this is symmetrical, so we don't need to be precise, I say, while regretting even thinking that. I put it upside down. I should never have brought up the ball. The ball was an embarrassing build. Possibly the most simple thing we've ever built on stream, and I messed it up several times over. We're just not going to focus on my mistakes there. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, I am all sorts of incompetent. Okay, that just means that I am obviously getting a little, not high, but drunk on melatonin. So we should probably try to wrap this up sooner rather than later is what that means. There's a gate, there's a gate stopping me from finishing this. Luckily, that fell off the table, but it fell right in my shoe chat. There we go. This goes on like this. And this goes on like this. So yeah, if you're a Gundam fan and you haven't seen Gundam X, even though I'm halfway through the series, I definitely would recommend it. Oh, thank God. I thought I'd put them on wrong. And then we just put up the biceps. C1, C17 actually, but more like just looking for which sprues they are. Oh, I forgot to put on stream. Amazing Red will be next week. I don't think I said that either. I was supposed to have an image up that said, the Amazing Red, which you guys voted for overwhelmingly, will be built next week. And the Hobby Hyzak will be built at the end of the month instead. Because we were supposed to be building the Hobby Hyzak today. But I just felt like I just had waited too long for Gundam X. I felt like I was just dragging my feet on the series for quite literally too long when I realized it had been 6 or 7 months since I had actually continued the series, since I had left off from the series. That's just too long. Oh. Did I not cut off? Did I not cut off the other pieces? No, wait, I did. Right? 17, yeah. Oh, they're back here. 4th of July, I think it's going to be pretty calm. I think we're just going to read the Declaration of Independence on the 4th of July. Ooh. If you just zonk out, don't worry about it, Opus. It is pretty late. We are going to be wrapping up soon, though, so you don't need to worry too much. But we will be doing the Declaration of Independence on the 4th of July. Maybe read some excerpts from, like, influential texts to the American independence. Not the Constitution itself, though. I want to wait until... is it September or December to do the Declaration? Because it was ratified in December, but it was written in September. Oop. And then... I think this is symmetrical, so it doesn't matter. It doesn't. And then... not this one, but this one goes on. Oh. Okay, yeah, we're gonna definitely wrap up soon because I am so tired. I forget how bicep armor goes on. Oh, that's wonderful. There's a gate. Normally I'm really good at cutting flush, but at the same time, I think the problem is that I don't know a kit that has so many gates that are like in the way of pieces sliding together as this kit does. It's a really good kit, especially for its age. But where it shows is this weird gate placement. It has some of the weirdest gate placement I think I've seen in a while. And it keeps catching me off guard because I think I have cut the gates flush, but no, they need to be really, really extra precise with this kit sometimes. That's going to need a lot of cleaning up. We're just going to build the hands, and then we're going to be done for today, and we'll finish up both this build and the review of Gundam X on Wednesday. Yeah, tiny hands. Holy crap. Though, actually, before I even started this build, I was kind of wondering how big the Gundam X was. Because AUs aren't as consistent as the UC. Like, you would think that AUs are just default 18 meters, because that's the original size of Gundams. But AUs, the Gundam Wing, for example, like their Gundams are like 16 and a half, 17 meters. Not quite as consistent as you might think in AUs. The Gundam X kind of feels like a bit of a smaller boy, even in Gundam X itself. And there we go. We put on the back of the hands and pray to God that they are interchangeable so we don't need to be side specific. I think they're not interchangeable. They are not interchangeable. Okay. Wait. Okay. And with this, we have the kit half done. Makes it a perfect endpoint for our half, because we're halfway through Gundam X itself. Let's move these away. Let's put this back down. Let's show what we have built so far today. We have the Gundam X with its backpack without its gun yet. We have its beautiful head. The eyes actually came off really nice. I like how it actually has an underline for the eye. I don't know if that comes through for you guys because the camera. Ooh, I should move it back to medium off of narrow. But I lost a hand shot. There it is. Oh, I need to create emojis for Twitch. I just realized that because now that's a thing. Not only do I have to deal with the evil of ads, but I have to now have the responsibility of making emojis for you guys. But we have that done for today. We will be building the waist, legs, and weapons tomorrow. Not tomorrow, sorry. Well, actually, technically tomorrow, because tomorrow is Wednesday at this point, but on Wednesday, same time. And I will also be finishing up Gundam X and talking about however it ends, however it goes, but it's a really good series. I've really been enjoying it. We did talk about it for the most part this stream. Ooh, and I am excited to talk about it more on Wednesday. Ooh, but in the meantime, I'm going to find somewhere to send you guys off to. I always like... because even though I'm too small to raid on YouTube, I like to link you guys out. Let's first check on Twitch to see who's there. If we should do a raid or a link out, we're going to do a link out on Twitch. And Twitch... oh. We'll link out to Atya on Twitch. Actually, Atya is usually not streaming this late, so she must really be enjoying her game, because I think what she's playing is Half-Life, but I'm pretty sure she started her stream at her usual start time of 9, so if that's true, she's been going for 3 hours. So she must really be enjoying it, if that is the case. Well, let me find a place to link you guys on YouTube. Been a kind of more of a relaxed stream today. Not as chaotic as our last few Gundam streams where my brain literally melted out my ears. Let me see if I can find a place for you guys. Someone who's live, preferably. I'll link you out to Ari Lumani. I enjoy her streams quite a lot. Ooh. So again, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this stream. I hope you liked this stream as much as I liked doing it. A little bit more of a lax stream. No brain melting this time. Very casual. Have a great day and a wonderful life. And I'll hopefully see you tomorrow for the unarchived karaoke stream. And if not, I'll see you Wednesday for as we finish up this build and review of Gundam X. Have a great day, everybody. I really need to change that ending screen.